Joe Allen back. That's the big headline. How pleased are you to have Joe in the squad?
Yeah, no, really pleased. A player with huge ability, big experience as well. So, it'd be a huge asset to what we do. So it was. I would have picked him in the first squad if he would have been fit. But now he's available. It was quite an easy decision for me.
A few ex-players have called it a no-brainer. Was it a no-brainer for him as well?
You'd have to ask him that question. He was very positive when I spoke to him a few months ago when I first came into the role. But he was injured at the time. And then he watched the games as well, so we were in contact during that period. And then with the selection obviously coming up, he was really keen, and obviously so were we.
Has he still got it, I guess, is the big question from what you've seen recently?
You don't lose what he's got. You don't lose that, you'll have that forever. Now staying fit, obviously the intensity, they're key elements that as you get older, as we both know, they can get a little bit less, but in his position, his role, he still has a number of years doing what he's able to do.
When he was at his peak, that time when it was Bale, Ramsey, Allen, players that played with him said that he made, at times he was the most important one out of the three, which sounds crazy, but players that played with him really appreciate him. What are his qualities?
No, I don't believe that sounds crazy.
Just because of Bale, maybe everybody thinks it's Bale, but what's so special about Joe?
No, he's one of those, when you play with him, you realise how good he is. And even also training with him as well. I remember playing against him when he was at Swansea and he was really young. You come off the pitch with, wow, I didn't realise this little kid was that good, and how strong he was as well, how well he used his body, how well he read certain situations, how intelligent he is with the ball as well. And then obviously his career has been outstanding. His contribution towards Wales he's been one of the best. And he's still fit, he's still ready, and he's still able to have an impact. Now, of course, we have to be conscious to respect his decision as well. He gets to choose. Very few players have earned that right. He's one of them, and he's chosen to want to still be part of it. Of course, it's a very easy decision for me because like we believe as coaches as well that it's like the ex-players have said, it's a no-brainer. It's definitely not.
And he must like what he's seen from a distance so far, from what you've done in the short space of time.
It's another question. You keep asking me questions about Joe. Yeah, I think he's going to have to answer that. Hopefully he answers it positively. But I hope so, yeah. I do hope so.
It's tough to draw comparisons, but we played Croatia a lot, and it was always Joe and Modric going toe-to-toe, and you see Modric doing what he did. People concentrate on age, that's what I'm getting at. And if you're still playing and still doing what you do, people like Modric and Joe, does it matter?
No, like I said, the way he plays, he'll be able to play for a long time. But like we say, like the intensity of the game and what he's asked from in his position. Now, if you ask him to go box to box, it's going to be very difficult for him. It would have been even in his prime. But the role, you'd look to use a profile of what Joe has. These type of players do seem to play a lot longer. And I see him in that type of profile because, what Joe is, it's there. So he's a few seconds ahead of there. And once you've got that, some of the best players I ever played against, and even from a defender's point of view, I was told weren't quick. So I thought I might be able to exploit that. I couldn't because they read the game ahead of me. So it gave me a real learning curve of, it's, of course you might have speed, but it's how you use it because really you need to be a few seconds ahead upstairs, and that's where Joe is.
The only negative, he might pass your total of caps. in the next 2 games.
Well, he's out of the squad now then, since you said that. How dare he is. I'm not going to allow that.
Fair enough.
Of course. Look, it's... and how many have I got, sorry? 78? 78, yeah 78.
He won't pass your goals, though.
Then he can play then. But he has no problem.
No other... Anybody else coming back? I haven't spoken to Gareth Bale, for instance.
No, Gareth, he doesn't play football anymore. So if he was, I would still be... look, it's... you know, I believe we look at age probably due to the years have gone past of previous players and what was expected during that time. I honestly believe we're in a different stage of athlete now as well as players. You know, they really do look after themselves, so longevity will be there for a lot of players. So I honestly believe we'll see the age gap go up a lot more. And also, a lot has to do with how you use the ball and how you play and how you look to set up as well. And I feel what he's good at, that's good enough for us.
I guess with the rest of the squad, it's a classic manager's conundrum. Players are coming back, but you've lost some players as well. I think the net gain, maybe you've got more players back, but the people missing, I think Ramsey, of course, and Ethan Ampadu, there must be a bit of a headache for you, to say the least.
No, I expected it. I don't believe, you know, when we just talked about how many caps I've had, 78, I don't believe there's ever been a full squad. It's normal. It's just so normal, and that's for every international team as well. So, you know, when you name a squad, like, of course you have your pick of what you feel that would be it, but realistically, you know, 1 or 2 things will change. So probably due to my own experience, it's allowed me to be prepared, and what will be will be. And the squad, I like the squad. I believe there's a big number, and even, you know, when I decided that this role was for me, I looked at that as well, because you always have to look at, well, what happens here if that player goes missing. I just felt we had enough quality in those areas to be able to, you know, replace certain players at certain times, because, you know, I do like to change players in certain games against certain oppositions for what they do as well. So having a squad of 25 now we've picked for this one, that we intend to use as many players as possible, so it's normal.
Having said that, without taking anything away from the other players, is losing somebody like Ampadu, who seems to have always been there despite his age. Is that one where you take a little breath, or maybe even mutter a little swear word under your breath?
No, my first concern was him. I was just, you know, hoping it wasn't anything serious. Now it's not a nice injury, but it isn't. It could be a lot worse. So that was a bit of relief, because I really look at the player more, and getting to know Ethan as well, which is, you know, he's a credit to Wales, also you know, a credit to Leeds. You can see why he's named captain there, but to me also, like, you know, he's a credit to his family, and as you know, and when you just talk to someone as well who's just had an injury where you expect him to be down, he isn't. He's positive, and you know, so. Yeah, of course, I would like to have him with us. That's normal, but more it's the human being. And he'll have plenty of occasions where he's going to be with us and having a leading role with us. So, okay, we're going to miss him at this period, but in the future, he's going to have a huge role in what we call and what we'd like to see as success.
I won't go through every player that's back. I could, because they're all special. The Ipswich boys, Broadhead and Wes Burns, Rhys Norrington-Davies had such a tough time with injuries. He was flying before he got that injury for Wales. And then David Brooks as well, a player we've watched.
I was going to say, I was feeling a little bit down by your interview. Like,
sorry.
It's like, yeah, no, this is positive now. Yeah, yes. It's the first time I've actually felt down in an interview doing in Wales. So, yeah, but now you're being positive.
My fault.
Yeah.
No, but like somebody like Brooks, for instance, getting him back, he's looked a special player.
He is really special. He just glides, you know. He's one of those. He as a player for you can use him in different areas as well, and a player I admire as well as a footballer. Probably from a personal level, like we all do. We're fully aware of the situation he's had, and we've just grown an admiration for him. Fully aware of his start at Bournemouth this season as well as his injuries, so we would have named him in the first squad, but he missed out due to the injuries, but he's been back now, so monitoring how he's been training, he's been in the squads. So really looking forward to being able to get to work with such a talented player like him.
And how important is it, just on those players, seem to have different types of players? Football can get regimented, much more than I do, but a different type of player to do something different in a game, like Broadhead, for instance. It doesn't strike you as your traditional centre forward. They all seem to have different options for you. You must have plenty going on options-wise in your head before these two games.
I understand the idea of pigeonhole a player in that position and saying he's that. I don't. I see like 5-6 attackers. Then I see a certain amount of defenders. Now, he might start there, he might look like he's playing there, but he isn't, he's actually doing this role. So I really like flexibility and trying to move to what the opposition does to create more numbers in one stage and then create more numbers in the final third. And that, I don't see anyone, well, that's his role, that's what he's supposed to be doing. I'm not too, it doesn't fit into my psyche. So attackers, of course, we all love. And I believe, a right winger can play left wing, but then he can also play in the pocket. Then he can also play up front. So I feel where probably the level of coaching have gone on over the last number of years, players are playing different roles in different positions and getting exposed to different areas, which is great for a profile or the way we go about it as coaches. It just fits to what we do. So the many options, the better.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely. I can imagine. Just on the opposition, Montenegro hopefully won't be as wet again. Iceland, we think of Wales as a tiny country. They're on another level, tiny country.
Yeah,
who've done really well over the years. What do you expect?
Tough game, really tough. They've qualified for major tournaments with this group as well, and they just missed out on the Euros and the playoffs against Ukraine, which was a good game. First half they were exceptional. Second half, Ukraine dominated. So they will feel a little bit unlucky. They could have done something different in that game. So it was a little bit of a missed opportunity for him to go to a major tournament. So we're that close again. Watching the games in the summer as well, against England, against Holland, they were very good. So got to watch a lot of them. Really, the more you see of them, the more you know how difficult this game's going to be. They have really good profiles. They have really good attacking options. You can see they have a togetherness. This team doesn't lose much, but if they do lose, they don't lose by many. They're always in the game. So it's going to be a difficult game, a different type of test to Montenegro and Turkey. But that it's a different challenge, which is great because it gives us a different opportunity to maybe move things around. Which makes it exciting and gives you something to really look forward to. Just finally, I don't want to be negative, so I'm going to end on a positive. There seems to be a lot going on with Welsh football. The men's team are doing well, the women's team have got a playoff coming up. We've got a Welsh club playing Fiorentina this week in Europe. So on and off the pitch, there seems to be that buzz again. Is it great to be part of that once again? No, it is. Look, we've done really well over the last number of years. From the period when I was playing. That was a difficult period, like I'm sure it has been for many years before that, but we've got to see elite level. We've got to play in major tournaments, and I believe that's given us a hunger for more, and it's allowed us to expect more. And there's nothing wrong with that, so we should. And I believe it's probably brought us more together. Even as media, remember what it used to be like. It wasn't a nice environment. And that fed towards the fans as well, because they could see that as well, as much as they want to try and support the players. But I feel definitely I've stepped into a completely different place, because I know how much you guys want to see us qualify. Because you get a great few weeks no, but it works. Do you understand what I mean? And we want to, our fans want to, they want to go, get the opportunity to go and travel, which they have done. They've got to see it. and they want to be part of that again, and the players want to as well. And it's like, well, how do we get there? But then, you know, we've got to concentrate on just getting there. But if we get there, I was close to saying when. I want to try and I'm not trying to be like yourself and play it down. What can we do different? How can we leave our mark? Now you see a country like Iceland, 300,000. Now we have 3.75 million, or around about that. Why can't we go to and really compete at major tournaments like we've done before? 2016, I believe, give us due to the great work of Chris Coleman and his staff, give us a feel of, do you know, we can do something. We've always been told you can't. Now we can go to the first major tournament and then get to a semi-final. Now we're able to qualify them back to back and be able to go on a run. We were very unlucky to miss out on the last one. It was only penalty shootouts. Why shouldn't we expect to be qualified for major tournaments? But also then, why shouldn't we expect to be a real force when we get to those tournaments? And hopefully that'll be the case.